Normally I go around cities and I find the places. And sometimes I look for places where I would love to do it and then it's not there, you know. Some people have suggested, why don't you come in the night and you just slam it with a big hammer and you make your hole. Okay, possible, but I was thinking, you know, let's turn this around, let's go to the public space, let's build a wall that I want to have, like my ideal wall, and then do the project in it. What I like about this is it's still occupying the public space and even more radical than with the plastic bricks, because yeah, I'm like cutting off a piece of the public space with this wall. Nobody will notice. Nobody notice all the work that has been done, but in a way, it's like yeah, kind of a very slow graffiti. You know, I take a day to build this wall in front of some existing structure, and so far nobody has ever complained that I'm taking space in the public space. Like, I was never a king graffiti guy, you know, I was never a big name or anything, or nobody knows my tag. But I did it and I used to love it, and I studied art, and then I realized, you know, I'm still doing stuff in public space which will disappear, so it's still in a way a waste of money, like buying spray cans and something that they will repaint the next day. But I think it has so much more impact. Because a lot of people that I talk to, and I ask them, like, how do you perceive art in public space? How do you perceive text? What does it say to you? A lot of people say that they are so used to it that they don't even see it anymore. So in a way, it's like more like a pattern, and people don't necessarily focus on that anymore. So for me, it was also a little bit, you know, change the material and then change possibly the interest again. So Dispatchwork started when I was a student. I was a student under Karen Sander. She's an artist who works with very, she's not a minimalist, but she works in a very reduced way, very conceptual. So her influence is quite strong in, let's say, my education generally in that field. So we developed this project for Art in Public Space Festival. And I noticed in the months and weeks that we were developing this project, I noticed that on our first trip there, all these buildings, they're like constructed in many different bricks, and they're multicolored, and it's not so much about if the bricks fit together, it's more about that the stability, that the shape, that the form is there of the house. And this is a little bit, you know, when you have plastic construction bricks, you don't have enough of one color, so you might just take another color just to finish the structure. And this was the starting point, and then there came the idea of me as a city boy coming to the little village. What do I bring? What's my identity, and how do I express it there? And then there was exactly this transformation. So initially it was about the architecture style, but at the same time it's also some kind of, you know, street art graffiti culture brought to this country village. But what here was a funny experience was that since I built the wall myself, the people were super amazed because they were asking me, is this for new art? And the people were super amazed because, you know, masonry is not a street art thing at all. The other artist here in Nolan, he was actually saying that in a way it's a working class graffiti, you know. And I love masonry. I honestly like the material, I like the concrete to build a brick wall. And this was a funny experience that people here started to associate, you know, that many more things can be street art, and that was a pretty cool moment for me. I think New Art Festival has many parts of, like incorporates many parts of anarchy, that you just go out, you just do the stuff. Then again, it is also an institution, so it is a lot of things to be asked, and you know, like you have to ask, can you use this wall or not? And the owner came by, and then he told me, okay, graffiti on the other side of the street he was not such a fan of, but this he can understand, and so he likes it, and he's very happy, and he has the same color, the same paint, he has also the same traditional tool to make the little lines in between. So in fact, we used the original bricks, we used the original color coding, and we also used the original tool to make the lines, where he explained us a little bit where it comes from, so that only the rich people use these And if you look at the wall here in Stavanger, you will also see that in fact it was a bigger building. It crumbled at some point and they renovated it, but not the inside, but just this wall. And if you look at the wall, you can see the newer part, which was restored, the older part, and I think that's pretty interesting. There are always people involved, so when the people pass by, then if they're interested, my credo is basically let them participate, you know. So I'm always open for nice chats in the street, and I can sit in the nice corner, you know, I have a bottle of water, start doing the thing, and then when people pass by, everybody's in a good mood, we chat a little bit, you know, they tell me what they think and I collect their impressions, and then if we get along, you know, people just continue coming by, and then suddenly we're 3 or 4. I choose the colors to be as random as possible, because I like the vibration between the colors when they are multicolored. I don't like so much that it gives, if I would make only the same colors of the bricks, then there wouldn't be this contrast, which I adore, you know. I really like that in one way you go look at it and it looks totally out of place, you know. You're like, what happened here? The guy didn't even try to match the colors. I think this contrast is one of the most interesting parts of this works, that at some point it jumps into your face, and then from this contrast on, at some point, you know, in the reflection, maybe you come to the point that, yeah, it's totally out of place, it's totally contrasting, but in a way it makes so much sense, you know. So by trying to not go into the direction to make it easier for the spectator, I try to keep it as complicated in that way, that at the end maybe the catharsis is like, yeah, okay, even though it's so completely out of place, it does in a way work. What I like is that if it gets repurposed, let's say, then it will land inside the toy boxes of some kids. At the moment, in fact, I have been researching or like putting my focus more on ludic objects. So I have worked with soap bubbles, I have worked with playing dice and with the Lego bricks, for example. I like this material because it opens a door to the people, in a way a very emotional door. So if you know, everybody has touched it, everybody has had it in their hands, soap bubbles, playing dice, plastic bricks. There is a very personal relationship for each one with these objects, and I think by this I achieve that the people they start out with an emotional entry, which I find maybe the most honest and intimate way of communicating with somebody to get to an emotional level. But this is the starting point, and then through this maybe then touch topics that are tough, you know, like with soap bubbles, then connected to death, or with the playing dice, it's connected to time, or the bricks that it's all about decay and about basically the chaos in our world, that everything crumbles down and breaks down and at some point it's just gone.